So, what does it actually mean to be an American citizen? For more than 150 years, the answer seemed pretty straightforward. Just be born here on U.S. soil. But right now, a really high-stakes Supreme Court case is putting that very definition under the microscope. And believe me, the outcome could change, well, just about everything.
At the heart of it all is an executive order from President Donald Trump. The goal? To limit who automatically becomes a citizen at birth. And after battling its way through the lower courts, this huge constitutional challenge has officially landed at the nation's highest court.
And to get a feel for just how intense this whole thing is, just look at this post from the president himself. He frames the entire issue with a really direct and, fiery nod to its history, and at the same time takes a shot at the judiciary. It really sets a contentious tone for this entire legal fight. And if that wasn't enough drama, get this, something happened that has never ever happened before in American history. A sitting president actually attended the oral arguments at the Supreme Court for this case. Trump's presence right there in the courtroom, it sends a huge signal about how critical this is, not just for his administration, but maybe for the future of the country itself. Okay, so to really get what this fight is all about, we have to go back to the source. The whole entire case really hangs on how you interpret one single, powerful rule written in the Constitution. The core concept here is, of course, birthright citizenship. For over a century and a half, the rule has been beautifully simple. If you are born in the United States, you are a U.S. citizen. Period. It's a principle that has literally shaped the fabric of this nation. And that rule? It comes directly from these words, the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment. It was ratified way back in 1868, right after the Civil War, and its original driving purpose was crystal clear, to guarantee citizenship for formerly enslaved people and make sure their basic rights could never be taken away. Now, fast forward 30 years from when that amendment was passed. The Supreme Court made this interpretation rock solid in a landmark 1898 case called Wong Kim Ark. The court ruled that the American-born child of Chinese parents, who, by the way, couldn't even become citizens themselves at the time, was in fact a citizen. That powerful precedent has stood for over 125 years, which brings us to the challenge we're seeing today. So you might be wondering, if the text seems so clear and there's a precedent that's over a century old, where's the debate? Well, it all comes down to a fight over the meaning of just a handful of very crucial words in that amendment. This is it. This is the legal showdown. On one side, you have the Trump administration, and they're arguing that the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof means something else. They say the children of non-citizens aren't fully under U.S. jurisdiction because they owe allegiance to another country. Then, on the other side, you have the interpretation that stood the test of time. Being born on U.S. soil is all it takes to be under its jurisdiction, with really narrow exceptions, like for the kids of foreign diplomats. Now, pushing back hard is the ACLU. Their legal director, Cecilia Wang, puts it bluntly. She says the president is attempting to radically reinterpret the definition of American citizenship. So let's step away from the constitutional law for a second and talk about the real-world impact. What would a change like this actually mean for people? Because the stakes are absolutely enormous. I mean, we are not talking about a small number here. Research shows that this could affect more than 250,000 babies born in the U.S. every single year. That's over 250,000 lives whose citizenship status would suddenly be up in the air. And it's really important to get this straight. This isn't just about parents who are in the country illegally. The way the order is written, it's so broad, it would also affect the children of people who are here completely legally. We're talking about international students or even people who are just waiting for their green card application to be processed. Okay, so where does all this leave us? The arguments have been made, the legal briefs have been filed, and now pretty much the entire country is just waiting to see what the Supreme Court decides. So far, every single lower court that's looked at this order has blocked it. They've pointed to the Constitution and to that 1898 times Wong Kim Ark case. But, as we all know, the Supreme Court has the final say on this, and we're expecting a definitive ruling by early summer. When you boil it all down, this case is about so much more than just an executive order. The 9 justices are being asked to rule on the very bedrock of American identity. Their decision isn't just going to interpret a clause in the Constitution, it's going to provide an answer for generations to come to one of the most fundamental questions a nation can ever ask itself. What does it mean to be an American?